Welcome to the Dice Tower. This is the Origins Summer Preview with the Dice Tower, done at the Origins Game Fair 2013 in conjunction both with the Dice Tower and the Game and Manufacturers Association, GAMA. In this series of videos, we talk to different publishers and designers about games that have just come out or that are about to come out in the future. Here's today's video with your host, Eric Summer.
It's Origins 2013, our continuing coverage. This is Rick from Eagle Games. We have a trio of games to look at today. We're going to start with Francis Drake. Tell us all about this guy.
I will.
It's big.
It's big. This is a game that Peter Hawes, who is an Australian designer, put together and historically very well done. It recreates and you emulate the feats of Francis Drake as a privateer. Initially a pirate, actually, but Queen Elizabeth took favor with him, particularly because he could beat the Spanish Armada. Okay. And decided to put this game in 3 rounds. The first one is a voyage 1572, the next 1577, and the next 1585. By which time he was Sir Francis Drake. He starts out as Francis Drake. It's a game in 2 parts and 3 phases, 3 different voyages, 2 parts. The first part, all the would-be privateers, the wannabes, line up and are about to walk down Plymouth Street in Plymouth Harbor, and they're going to provision their ships. They're going to fill it with crew. They're going to upgrade if they want to be galleons and fight against galleons out in the Spanish Main, in the Caribbean. They're going to put crew, guns, upgraded ships, and supplies. And the supplies are NASA supplies. They were made in the year 2249, so they carry everything you could possibly need in a pirate ship of 600 or 700 years before. Okay. So they govern the range, the arms, the cannons, govern your ability to fight against forts and galleons. The crew you need in both cases. And your object ultimately is to get out to the Spanish Main and fight any of the, and your choice, about 13 different places, of collecting commodities, of fighting forts or other galleons or towns, with a plethora of scoring options, collecting those commodities for big scores at the end of the game. In the meantime, fighting those ships, getting a certain number of victory points for the nature of the forts or the ships, the size, how they're garrisoned, makes a difference in point scoring. So
this is a pre-production version.
This is a pre-production, almost a production version. We decided we'd make the treasure chest a little ornate, more ornate. Okay. Plain white didn't do it.
Plain white, not yet.
No, we were experimenting with size to make sure everything fits in the box. And
so what's the time frame?
Yeah, it's being printed now, and it'll be available, we expect in the United States by August 15th. So we're expecting it on a ship. This was a Kickstarter. It's a good Kickstarter, a lot of good faithful backers, and August 15th is when they should expect to see it.
Let's move on to Wizard's Brew.
Let's do.
So here's Wizard's Brew. Tell us about this one.
This is an Alan Moon, Aaron Weisblum collaboration that they did about 10 or 11 years ago. It was actually nominated for the SDJ under the name Das Amulet. It was one of the 3 finalists that year. There was a little baby called Carcassonne that beat it out slightly. Okay. Beat it out slightly. It was never done in an English version. It was done with English translation. There were some problems with those translations, so it never ever got done in an English version. This is an English version. It also adds about 60% more spells than were done in the original version. There are now 56 or 7 spells with the upgraded spells that we have. Your object is a wizard, a cauldron, and you are attempting to blend the elixir of life using ingredients, which are here represented by different colored wood tokens. To do that, to collect these different colored wood tokens and put them in your cauldron, you have to get the ingredients, the elements rather, harness the elements, which are earth, air, fire, and water. You're going to bid those elements on these ingredients. What drives the game are the spells. There are, as I said, 56 or 57 different spells. They involve a combination of geography. You're trying to steer this horse to go to the geographic realm that's going to be the most powerful for you based on the spell cards that you have. You might prefer the oceans or the plains or the forests or the mountains or the deserts, or you might prefer to be in the city. There are cards that let you bid more, bid less. There are cards that let you play some of these as wild. It really depends on circumstances. It's an opportunistic game. It's going to play very, very differently every time. It's not a long game. It's perhaps a 45 to 60-minute game. It plays 3 to 6 players, and it plays well with all three, with all numbers. Not always typical of some games. This does play well with all numbers.
Great.
Another little quick balancing thing is your energy cubes. You only have 10. You recycle them. That's what you bid on the spells. It's what you use to power the spells. So you're playing a balancing game there and a collect the elements game as far as the rest is concerned. that was a breath.
That was one breath.
That was
well
one
done,
breath.
sir.
Yeah.
What's the time frame on Wizards Brew? How soon will we see it?
It's coming on, actually, the container that leaves June 21st from China.
Okay.
And so we expect to see it in our warehouse August 1st. We're going to be optimistic. Hopefully not later than the end of the first week in August.
Terrific.
Again, Kickstarter, thank you backers, and you'll get yours first.
Let's move on.
Let's.
And last but not least, we have the latest in the Railways series. This is Railways Express, a dice rolling train building game.
Yeah, we just violated all the rules on that one alone, didn't we? This actually, I was bold enough to put my name on the design on this with Sean Brown, who's a very experienced Railways designer. Sean and I felt that this filled a niche that the other Railways games hadn't quite gotten to. We were eventually going to get there with the expansions. But this fills a niche for the adult in the family, father, mother, who has a kid who's grown up seeing these Railways games being played and says, I'd really like to play it. Mom and dad are going, I don't think you're quite ready. Well, he's ready, or she is ready for this game because it is, as Eric suggested, a dice-rolling, rail track-driven game. It's as simple as roll the 4 dice, pair them up. I don't know if Tom can see these. Pair them up 2 terrains, one terrain with one track, and the opposite. You have a color. Let's say you're the blue player and you started here. Your entire object of the game is to link the 3 other blue-colored cities with your start city. You do that by laying track according to this dice and crossing the right terrain according to this dice. It's really that simple. There are bonus cubes that if you get to these gray cities, there are 18 of them in between. You get a cube of your color. Any cubes of your color allow you to re-roll, either 1 or 2 dice to improve your chances. There are little secret bounty cards, which are nothing more than the 18 cities that are on the board. This one, for instance, is Pittsburgh.
First person to build into Pittsburgh gets an extra cube.
Gets an extra cube. Boy, well, that's
it's almost like I played it.
There, I can't believe it. Well done, well done.
And also some railroad operations cards.
There are. If your 7 or 8-year-old turns 9 in the middle of the year,
yes,
then he's starting to read things like the operations cards. We based them on the old operations cards. So there's something similar about this. Clearly, the board, the track system, the cubes, and even the cards that makes it reminiscent of a Railways game.
Right.
Well, we've had gamers, we've been playing back here in the boardroom for the last 2-3 days. Gamers are enjoying this as well because it is a race game that goes down to the wire and there is a fair amount of judgment involved in when you use those reroll cubes. So, recommended for 7 and up, but again, gamers, don't beware, you'd like this one too. We did Kickstart it, and this is following, this is in the same container as Wizards Brew, roughly the same timing. Okay. So we should have it here the first week in August.
Terrific. Thank you very much, Rick, for spending some time with us.
Absolutely. Thank you, and thank you, Tom.
Thanks so much for watching The Dice Tower and the Origin Summer Preview. We'll see you next time. I'm Tom Vassell, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.